What's going on, guys? CTG Met back, Red the Settle. Today we are ranking every starting shooting guard in the NBA. We are continuing on our series. If you missed the point guard video, it's still on the channel. Just go watch it. But if you're just here for this one, that's okay. Make sure to like, subscribe. I take the starting shooting guard listed on ESPN from every team, and I'm listing them. We're starting at 30. We're going to 1. Pretty simple stuff. At number 30, I have Brice Sensabaugh from the Utah Jazz. Remember, guys, there's 30 people on this list, so if your favorite player only gets 2 sentences, that's just how it goes, man. But Brice Sensabaugh, he's listed as the starting shooting guard for the Utah Jazz. He might play the 3. It's very interchangeable. Him and Ace Bailey are of similar size, I'll say. But I looked at their projected depth chart, and it said Brice Sensabaugh. Sensabaugh had a better year last year than I kind of thought. Not as terrible as the number 30 ranking would show. He played 71 games last season. He averaged 11 points per game with 3 rebounds, 1.5 assists. Shot 46% from the field, 42 from 3, and 89 from the free throw line. That's honestly much better than I thought for a year 2 guy. He shot a touch over 5 threes per game and shot it at a clip of over 40%. That's pretty damn good, especially only in year 2. He was in the 81st percentile in points per shot attempt last season, and also last season, he had 9 games of 20 or more points, including one really big explosive 34-point game against the Miami Heat that you're probably watching in the top corner right now. For me, it's hard to judge whether Brice Sensabaugh is a good complementary piece or if there's more here. I guess I'll have to see this season. It's year 3. Pretty big year for every guy going into year 3. You have to take a step up. Not sure if he's a future piece for this Utah Jazz team to build around or if he's just another complementary shooter to go with Ace Bailey. There's also a slight chance I forget who Brice Sensabaugh is in 5 years. I don't know what's going to happen with this guy's NBA career, but I sure as hell respect the fact that he shot 42% from 3 last year. It's really good production. 11 points per game is valuable stuff. However, he is number 30. There's just a bunch of guys better than him. Let's move on. At number 29, I have the ankle monitor hooper himself, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. KCP is currently coming off of maybe his worst season since his rookie year. Definitely points per game wise, it's his lowest since his rookie year at only 8.7. And it was his lowest 3-point percentage shooting season since his rookie year again. Last year, he shot 34.2%. Brutal. His defense was still solid. He held up well. He fit the Magic's identity of what they wanted from a good defensive wing. The only issue is that he shot 34% from 3. Pretty atrocious. However, I think there's still a bounce back for KCP. I think he's a very valuable role player, a guy a lot of teams would like, and I think he's going to strive in Memphis, a team where, again, it's about his defensive identity, but also at the same time, he's not the only shooter on the court now. They have Jaren Jackson and other guys like that who can knock down threes, Santi Aldama. It's not him as the lone shooter on the court like it seemed like it was in Orlando last year. I'm more so banking on him going back to career norms in Memphis this year. The guy's a career 38% three-point shooter. Last year, he just shot 34%. I know he's aging, and players don't always age the best, but three-point shooting isn't something that just is gone in 1 year. It doesn't really happen that often. I'd expect his defense to fall before his three-point shooting, but his defense was still fine last year. But, however, again, he did cost the Magic some games in the playoffs against the Celtics. Brutal shooting stretches from KCP. I'm still rooting for him to have a turnaround in Memphis. I really like the fit. If KCP can go back to being like an 11 points per game guy, shoot close to 40%, this is one of the elite role players in the game still. I'm banking on a turnaround. At number 28, this might be a little bit controversial, I have Gary Trent Jr. Another role player type of guy that I think could serve well in a bench role, but I think he'll be starting this year for the Milwaukee Bucks. GTJ was amazing last season. I don't want this ranking to take away from the fact that he broke the Bucks bench three-point makes record. Yes, he took the record from Michael Redd. Similarly to KCP, his counting numbers kind of fell off last season simply because he joined a better team with Milwaukee. Damian Lillard, Giannis Antetokounmpo, he had the ball less than when he was in Toronto. His effectiveness was still felt. Like I said, he shot almost 42% from 3 last year. Like I said before, he broke the Bucks record for bench three-point makes. That's pretty cool. He also shot 48% on corner threes last year, which is damn sure elite. 88th percentile. That was on 109 corner three-point attempts. 88th percentile. That's pretty good too. There's some times where he can work the mid-range occasionally. I don't think that's the shot you want him predominantly taking, but if he takes one, two a game, it's not hurting anybody. He's an alright steals defender, as I like to call him. Basically, he jumps passing lanes well and picks pockets well, but in terms of man-to-man defense, he doesn't really hold up that well. He's not the best. He's all right, though. He's definitely serviceable. He's only going into his age 27 season. That feels absolutely ridiculous for Gary Trent Jr. Feels like he's been bouncing around forever, considering he was on the bubble Blazers team with Dame Lillard. I believe he was there the year before. That was really weird. Remember when the Blazers' young core was Anthony Simons and Gary Trent Jr. behind Dame and CJ? incredible times. Things have changed a lot since then, clearly. But like I said before, I don't want the 28th ranking to be a complete dig at Gary Trent Jr. I just think he's better served as a bench piece or a bench role. He's going to be starting this year for Milwaukee because, let's be honest, the backcourt and the guard situation there is kind of bad. But Gary Trent Jr. is not a bad player by any stretch. He's just not ideal for a championship caliber team to be starting. He had some big playoff moments, but of course, the playoffs ended really badly for him. If you don't remember, they melted a lead to the Pacers, and Giannis tried to throw him a pass, and it slipped through his hands, went out of bounds, turnover. He had some great moments in the playoffs, but it got overshadowed by the fact that he just dropped the ball. He basically went Bucky Dent if you watch baseball. At number 27, I have Klay Thompson. Oh, this one's brutal, man. From top 5 about 10 years ago to bottom 5 this year, it's not necessarily his fault. Injuries have completely sapped him, but he's still valuable. At this point in his career, he's not really an all-star. He's just a pure role player. The issue is that once the defense starts slipping, you're not as much of a valuable 3-and-D guy as he once used to be. He still shot 39% from 3 last year, 41% from the field, though. Absolutely insane. He almost shot a better 3-point than field goal percentage. That would have been an insane season. Again, I think his defense has slipped predominantly because of the fact that he's gotten hurt continually across his career. The 2 years he missed, he's not as athletic as he once was. He's not as vertically athletic, and he doesn't move as quick, is what I'm trying to say. Still a very good complementary shooter and a great piece to have around in Dallas when you have all those big bodies with Kyrie and Cooper Flagg as well as your other wings and guards. I know Cooper Flagg's not a guard, but you know what I mean. He's going to be holding the ball a good amount. I love Klay Thompson's fit in Dallas. It makes perfect sense to me, and he's still a super productive player that can get you like 14 a night. You know, he's not bad. But his 3-and-D value has dropped with the dropping of, well, his defense. But you think about it, with Anthony Davis and Daniel Gafford as his backline defenders next year, his defensive numbers might kind of rise up again. So I think there's upside here again for Klay Thompson, but he is just really, really old. He's 35 years old, man. But it's not like it matters. The guy has Megan Thee Stallion. He won off the court before the season even started. Congratulations to him, that lucky motherfucker. At number 26, I have Brandon Miller. This one was really, really tough to rank. This is a high ceiling guy, but he only played 27 games last year. Those were not a good 27 games either. He did average 21 points per game, which was a career high. However, he shot 40, 35, 86 splits. He shot 40% from the field. Also, he averaged about 3 turnovers per game before ultimately a wrist injury, I believe it was, in January, took him out for the remainder of the season. An injury that early in the season is definitely tough to handle. But I still have a ton of belief that he can really be an all-star one day. Some people compare him to Paul George coming out of the draft. I don't not see it. I just haven't been able to see him enough as a player in the NBA. He isn't a bad defender, and he has a pretty decent offensive bag. He works the mid-range relatively well as well. I like Brandon Miller a lot. It's just we haven't seen a ton of him in his NBA career. I like the fit with LaMelo Ball as well because he seems like he can get out in transition too. He's just really difficult to rank. Like I said, the guy's only played 101 NBA games in his career. That's not a lot. That's way less than the 3 seasons I believe he's been in the league now. Brandon Miller's a guy that can shoot up this ranking any year. This year could be his year. He could average 21 points per game on 45% shooting, and all of a sudden he's basically an all-star. The thing is like I said, I've just struggled to rank him because he hasn't played a ton. He missed a ton of time last year. At number 25, I have Brandon Podziemski. Podziemski's regular season was alright, but his playoffs definitely left a sour taste with me. He shot 36% from the field and 32% from 3 in the playoffs last year, despite having a pretty good Game 5 against Minnesota. He is a pretty good defender, still an iffy shooter at times, and I think he's probably better with the ball in his hands more, being more of a distributor. He can pass. That's what makes him very versatile, and that's what makes me like his upside, is the fact that he can pass and he can you dribble with the ball. Compared to these other guys, he can dribble, unlike Gary Trent Jr., Klay Thompson, Bryce Sensabaugh. That's what separates them. What separates him from Brandon Miller in my eyes is his defensive ability as well. Podziemski has shown to be a very, very valuable defender for this Golden State Warriors team, especially when they put him at the 2 next to Curry. He's able to stop wings and guards. He has very active hands as well. He's just really quick. Super versatile player. He can pass. He's a decent mid-range shooter. and he has a good handle. He can drive to the basket. He's run point guard for them before countless times in Golden State in a lot of lineups. I'm unsure of his ceiling as a player because, well, he's already a little bit older. I'm not sure exactly how good he's going to get at his peak. However, even if he stays like this and just maybe develops a little bit better from behind the three-point line, which I think he needs to do anyways, you're talking about a really, really valuable guy at the 19th overall pick. They took him 19th overall, way out of the lottery, and you've managed to get pretty damn good production out of him. I just hope he can turn up that three-point shooting a little bit, and you're talking about one of the best complementary guys that Steph Curry has on his team right now. It's no disrespect to Jimmy, Draymond, them guys, but Brandon Podziemski, if he could take another little step up, specifically offensively, because his defense has been fine. Offensively, if he just takes a step up, shoots a little bit better from behind the arc, and maybe averages another 1 assist per game, you're talking about a completely different player. I like Podziemski a lot, but again, the playoffs just kind of soured me a little bit. Number 24, I have Stephon Castle. Might be a little bit of a hot take. This guy has a ton of potential, though, and he just won Rookie of the Year. Stephon Castle is trying to do this season what no other player in NBA history has ever done. Repeat Rookie of the Year. For real, though, he averaged 15 points, 4 and 4 last season, albeit on some really stinky splits, 43% from the field, 28.5% from 3, and 73% from the free throw line. 73% from the line. Not bad, but 28.5% from behind the arc is pretty disgusting. He has explosive athleticism. I'm pretty sure it was the Christmas game where he absolutely postered someone. I forget who that was. And he was a pretty decent rim finisher in his opportunities last season. He saw an increase of usage rate simply because Wembanyama went down with the blood clots, De'Aaron Fox went down with the wrist injury, and that kind of left Stephon Castle to be the only real guard on the roster. So he had the ball probably in his hands more than they wanted, but it probably will help his long-term development, the fact that he had that end of the season where it was just him, really. I think there's a really, really high ceiling for Stephon Castle. He, like I said, the athleticism, if he can just knock down that three-point shot, we're talking about a completely different player. I know rookie point guards typically aren't the most efficient, so I'm not going to kill him on efficiency. I know I've been nailing him enough already. I'll back off. However, I need him to lock down defensively again. The guy was a really, really good defender at UConn, one of the best in college when he was at UConn. I need him to lock down and be that defensive guy again. At number 23, I have Quentin Grimes. I'm giving him the nod here. His last season was one of the most impressive of any players on this list, in my opinion. He could have won a Most Improved Player award, too, to me. But his resume is really weird, and that's what has him very low. He was solid on the Knicks for his first few seasons in the league. We're talking about 2 years of being a pretty all-right bench role player for the Knicks. And then he goes to Detroit, and it's like he almost falls out of the league, it feels like. He gets released by the Pistons. The Pistons didn't want him. That was the Pistons team that won 10 games. He takes a flyer deal in the offseason, goes to Dallas. In Dallas, he averaged 10 points per game with 4 rebounds and 2 assists, mostly coming off the bench. But when he did have time to fill in for guys like Kyrie Irving and Luka when they were hurt earlier in the season, he had pretty good games in Dallas. At midseason, he gets traded to Philadelphia. That's where he pops off and earns, maybe the bag he might get. He's still unsigned at the time of recording. However, in Philadelphia, he averaged 22 points per game with 5 rebounds and 4 assists. That's over 25 games. 22 a game. His scoring was on full display in Philadelphia. He had 2 40-plus point games. Absolutely ridiculous. One against the Warriors, who were a really good defense in the back half of the year. His ranking's really low because he's unproven. He's had one really good year in his career where he's been 22 points per game over a 25-game sample is basically what I'm hanging this ranking on. He also struggles defensively. He's a 6'3 combo guard that's kind of small. He could play the 1, probably is a better backup 1 because you need length around him. He reminds me of a lot of guys that are also on this list where it's he's a bucket. What else does he do? At number 22, I have Shaedon Sharpe. Very similar player as Quentin Grimes, except to me far more explosive and a worse shooter. Sharpe last season averaged 18.5 points per game along with 3 assists, 4.5 rebounds on 45, 31, 78.5 splits. Works the mid-range game pretty well, shot 42% in the mid-range, which is pretty close to league average. He does a majority of his work at the rim, though. I think, as we all know, the guy has 6 poster dunks per season. He attempted 293 shots at the rim last season and made 209. It's a 71% clip. That's the 92nd percentile. He was finishing better than some big men. Interesting part with Shaedon Sharpe's game, though, is that his three-point attempt number just keeps going up, and his percentages keep going down. He keeps taking more threes, and he keeps getting worse percentage-wise. It's actually hilarious to look at. I'm unsure if that's by design for his development or not, or if that's just how he wants to play the game. If that's how he wants to play the game, sure, but you have to be more efficient than just 31%. If you're going to take 6 threes a game, which he was taking about 6.5, you have to shoot better than 31%. I believe there's a really great score in there, especially with his athleticism. He kind of reminds me of Jalen Green without the Jalen Green hype. He has the dribble package, the dribble moves, the bag work, as the kids say. He has the explosiveness, the poster dunks. Just has to put together consistency. And number 21, Jalen Green. You just heard his name. The only thing consistent about Jalen Green is the fact that he's super inconsistent. He's consistently inconsistent. Last season, he averaged 21 points per game with 4.5 rebounds and 3.5 assists. Shot 42% from the field, 35.5% from three, and 81 from the free throw line. Like I said before, super bag work reliant, tons of dribble moves, loves to pound that thing into the floor, and he'll dunk on you. He also likes to take a ton of tough shots. His game is one of the more aesthetically pleasing in basketball, in my opinion. However, like I said, it's just about the shot going in and not the moves. He shot 35.5% from three last year, which is actually a career high for him. But 42% from the field is pretty much where he's been at his whole career. He hasn't really taken a step up in that department. His defense is pretty garbage. Can I be honest with you? He's a bad defender. Opponent points per 100 possessions goes up over 6 points with Green on the floor. That's also pretty consistent with career norms, these 6 opponent points per 100 possessions. He's been a pretty net negative defender about his whole career. And the thing that has me lower on him was the fact that I really thought last year was going to be his big blow up year. It really wasn't. And I also thought, hey, in the playoffs, he has a chance to really prove himself. Boy, did he show himself in the playoffs, and in an awful way. Let's read off these stats. He straight up no-showed. He averaged 13 points per game with 3 assists. 13 points per game, and he was their second leading scorer during the regular season. He shot 37% from the field, 29% from three, 66% from the goddamn free throw line. He did nothing well in the playoffs. He had one solid game. That's about it. Solid's an understatement. It was a spectacular game when he put up almost 40. The rest of the games, he scored pretty damn close to 10. He played 7 games against the Warriors and just looks sorry. Then he has to go onto the podium and say Draymond Green's just a role player. He's been more successful than, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and yap about Jalen Green, and that's not going to get my heart rate up. I believe in him as a scorer. I think he can be a great scorer. And people are talking about this season is going to be different because he has spacing around him in Phoenix. I don't know. I'm done buying in on the hype. I got to see production. At number 20, I have Norm Powell. This is literally Jalen Green, but more established and way more efficient. He might come off the bench next season. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. The Heat have like 8 lineups they can run. Norm was a fringe all-star last season. He averaged 21 points per game with 3 rebounds and 2 assists and 1 steal per game. He shot 48.5 from the field, 42 from 3, and 80 from the line. He took over 7 threes per game and shot 42%. His defense isn't all that bad considering he's a 6'4 guard. He's struggled before and sometimes, like early in Toronto, but he's gotten consistently better. And plus, it helps when you have a good backline defender behind you, and if it's Zubats, he gets buckets in bunches, as they say. He's a great shooter, almost a career 40% three-point shooter, so he knocks it down when he gets the opportunity. He is going into his age 32 season, but that doesn't really worry me at all. The only thing that really worries me is that I'm going to be wrong, and he's going to be coming off the bench, and it's going to be somebody else starting at the 2. You know, they could put Davion at the 1, Hero at the 2, Wiggins at the 3, and then they move Norm to the bench, or they could start Hero at the 1 with Powell at the 2. I don't know. For over 5 years now, though, Norm's been a pretty consistent, close to 15 to 20 point per game scorer. Been pretty damn good. Last year was a fringe all-star season. He helped carry that Clippers offense when Kawhi Leonard wasn't there. He's number 20 on the list. That's actually not bad. At number 19, I have Bradley Beal. 2021 Brad Beal was in the top 10, probably the top 5 of this list. Brad Beal now not that high. Due to his awful contract that he was being paid in Phoenix, he was pretty overlooked. His season stats last year, he averaged 17 points per game on 50, 38.5, 80 splits. Pretty damn good. He shot 50% from the field. He started some parts of the season, came off the bench some other parts of the season. They had a really bad year, and they were just trying to jumble around with starting lineups, and Brad ended up coming off the bench for a good portion of the season as well. My hope is this season Bradley Beal can be a little bit more appreciated as a player. I know he's not perfect. He's not a great defender. He really should be a better 3-and-D guy. But what he does well, he's pretty damn good at. He can still score. For instance, Beal was in the 84th percentile for mid-range shooting last year, 74th percentile in three-point shooting last year, 74th percentile in effective field goal percentage, 91st percentile in rim finishing, albeit that rim finishing on only 130 attempts. He doesn't go to the paint very often, takes a ton of mid-range shots. But there's nothing wrong when you're draining them pretty damn well in the 74th or the 84th percentile, sorry. The advanced numbers absolutely hate him. But again, it's really hard to judge whether he was a good or bad defender. I tend to think he was a bad defender. You watch him in one-on-one, he's not per se solid. but it was hard to tell because Phoenix was just god-awful at everything last year. There was clearly a disconnect between the coaching staff, the players, Bradley Beal, and the rest of the players on the team. It felt like the fans didn't like him anymore. He didn't want to be there. The fans didn't want him there. Things were really ugly. I just hope things can turn around for Brad with the Clippers because he has a pretty good opportunity to be a provider on a pretty good team. At number 18, I have a guy who came off the bench that I think will be starting now, Bennedict Mathurin. If you ask Coach Rick Carlisle about Bennedict Mathurin, he absolutely gushes over the guy. And I don't hate it. Last season, he averaged 16 points per game with 5 rebounds and 2 assists. Again, not bad for a guy who came off the bench the whole season. And I think those stats will get better. You got to think Halliburton's out. That's another 15 shots that gets pushed around and spaced around on the team. And Bennedict Mathurin might be the second best individual creator on the Pacers next year without Halliburton there. Siakam's the best scorer on the team, but Bennedict Mathurin might be their second leading scorer. Last year, he shot 41% on catch and shoot opportunities, I believe. I think I have that written down right. He could score off the dribble, and he gets the free throw line consistency. That one I know 100%. He goes to the line. The guy averaged 6 free throws per game in the finals. Where they don't call any whistles and they just let you get bear hugged by Lou Dort all game. Mentioning Lou Dort, he is on this list as well. He has good defensive energy, Bennedict Mathurin. I'm not saying he's the best defender ever, but at least he's engaged. He looks like he gives a you-know-what, and that's kind of what matters. Defense is like half effort. I would have loved to put Bennedict Mathurin higher because, you listen to what Rick Carlisle says about him, and you listen to how Carlisle describes him and describes how he wants his game to evolve this season, and he's having him watch different guys and learn different games. I would like to put him a lot higher, but I think I'm just going to do it in favor of the more established guys. It's kind of how I'm rocking out right now. But Bennedict Mathurin at 18 is probably higher than you may have anticipated. At number 17, I have another weird one. It's RJ Barrett. We are in a really weird time of ranking because I have no idea where to put RJ Barrett, man. This was the hardest one to place. It felt like I couldn't put him too high because last year he was super good. He had a career high in points per game, 21 a game. Career high in assists per game, 5.5 per game. Career high in rebounds per game, 6.5 per game. He had career highs across the board. However, that was mostly due because his usage rate shot up out the roof because Scottie missed time, Quickly missed time, Ingram missed time. A lot of guys missed time, and let's be honest, you're not going to let Ochai Agbaji take the ball up. Like I said, RJ got his big chance, and he did all right. He shot 47% from the field, 35% from 3. All right, already you're like, okay, that's not bad. 47 from the field, 35 from 3. It's not god-awful. 63 from the line. 63 from the free throw line. It's inexcusable. He takes a ton of his shots at the rim. I'm talking I think it's over 40% of his shots were at the rim last year, and he shoots 63% from the line. That's a problem. With the career high in assists as well, he also averaged 3 turnovers per game. Not pretty, but he's not a point guard. They just had him play it. He feels like a passable defender to me, and the advanced numbers disagree with me. So again, I really don't know. There's some times where I feel like guys are really good defenders, but then you look at the advanced numbers and it's like, well, that doesn't stand up. Lou Dort's defensive plus minus wasn't as good as I thought, and I'm like, that's just sometimes you can't believe it. He put up career highs basically across the board, and he's still at 17. You're wondering what the hell did he do to not get put higher than 17? It's because I really don't know what the hell's going to happen with him this season. It feels like Toronto's been trying to ship him out and trying to find a trade partner for him. I don't blame them. It kind of feels like he doesn't really fit into the mix here. But if he ends up staying in Toronto, dude, I don't know what happens. At number 16, I have CJ McCollum, 3J. He's a very consistent player, man. This guy's averaged 20 to 23 points per game for about a decade now. And on top of that, he's been one of the better three-point shooters in the league for about a decade now. You know what I really like about CJ McCollum? He's in the 85th percentile for usage rate. He turned the ball over less than 2 times per game. I'm not saying he's a big assist guy. He's not averaging 7 assists, 1 turnover, nothing ridiculous like that. But for a guy who touches and has the ball as much as CJ McCollum does, he doesn't turn the ball over a ton. He's never been a great defender. That's because he is a point guard playing shooting guard. He's 6'3". He doesn't really have much size on him. However, he's not bad in terms of scoring the ball. This is one of the more efficient scorers you can have. I think what separates him from a guy like RJ Barrett to me is just the efficiency, man. CJ McCollum is just an efficient scorer every year. You just know what you're going to get. You're going to get 20 points. You're going to get something around 4 assists, and you're going to get 39% from 3. He does the same thing every year, and I think that can't be undersold. He's now on the Wizards if you haven't paid attention recently. He was in a trade for Jordan Poole. He is now the veteran leader on a team with a bunch of young guys. Sarr, Coulibaly, Carrington. There's a ton of young guys over there. He gets to be the vet now. However, he can still be very productive. He's not washed. He's going into his age 34 season. But 3J is going to go down as maybe the best non-all-star of all time. Zero-time all-star is what I mean. And honestly, he's just a consistent scorer, and I think that's just what I like about him. Honestly, he's not the greatest defender out there, but RJ Barrett, Benedict Mathurin, these guys aren't elite defenders to the point where that's putting them over the top. I like the efficiency of McCollum, and I think that's what gets him the nod. Here we go, the hot button man that's been talked about for way too long now. It's Cam Thomas. I have him at 15. He is the next closest thing to CJ McCollum in my eyes. An explosive scorer. He can get 40 points like it's nothing, man. Trust me. But that's about it. And you might be like, well, 40, that's a lot. But when he's not scoring 40, it's like 15, and he's doing absolutely nothing else. The guy averaged 4 assists last year and 2.5 turnovers. That's not even a 2-to-1. I know he's a shooting guard and he's not meant to be a great passer, but he didn't even have a point guard last year. And by the way, this guy was getting doubled a good portion of the season and averaged 4 assists per game. He shot 44 from the field, 35 from 3, 88 from the line. That's good enough for me. However, his effective field goal percentage was in the 36th percentile, which kind of shows that the shots he takes are mildly inefficient. A lot of long twos in there. Plus the fact that he's just not a good rim finisher. He's a smaller guard. He's not that. He doesn't have the size, and he doesn't really go into contact. He doesn't take a ton of free throws either. He is a below-average three-point shooter as well. He's also a terrible defender. Now, you're listening to me absolutely destroy him. He's bad defensively. He's a below-average three-point shooter. He's a below-average rim finisher. But there is a bucket in there. He can score. And that's, I guess, what wins you games at times is you need a score. I think he's a lot closer to Lou Williams, CJ McCollum than we really give him credit for. Lou Williams, if he could come off the bench like Lou Williams, I think he'd be cherished a ton. This offseason, he's looking for a contract that he should not be given. The guy has yet to play a full season yet. The guy has yet to show anything else besides his ability to score, which is a tremendous ability to have. Trust me, that's if you're going to have one ability and nothing else, scoring might be the one. But you need to have more facets to get a contract like that. He wants a Tyler Hero type bag, but he can't even average Tyler Hero assists. An undersized two-guard with tough shot-making ability, mildly inefficient, a terrible defender. It's really tough, man. He reminds me so much of Lou Williams, and if he could just be a six-man and embrace that bench role, he could really become loved by whatever team he ends up on. I hope he stays in Brooklyn. Watching one-man army Cam Thomas hoops is absolutely funny. At number 14, I always like to take a shot in these rankings. This is Jaden Ivey. I like taking shots in these rankings. I like saying, this is a young guy. I've seen a little bit of potential. You know what, let's rank him highly and see if I can make this work. Before a broken fibula ended his season last year, that's a disgusting sounding injury, by the way, Ivey was having a pretty damn good year. 17.5 points per game, which is a career high, with 4 assists and 4 rebounds per game. He shot 46 from the field, 41 from 3, and 73 from the line. It was only a 30-game sample, so maybe that 3-point percentage was fake. I don't know. Yet to see, but I'm hoping not. I see ample opportunity, and I think that's what makes me really want to put him this high in the rankings. I know right now, Jaden Ivey does not deserve to be this high. Jaden Ivey is not better than Cam Thomas at this very day, but I'm taking a shot, and I'm saying by the end of the season, I think he can be. Ample opportunity. Detroit let Dennis Schroeder walk. Detroit let Malik Beasley walk. He just got cleared of gambling, so shout out to that guy. He should have the ball a good amount with Cade Cunningham. He should be helping run some bench units, well, some non-Cade minutes. I want to see him be able to produce well in the non-Cade Cunningham minutes. He's still a pretty mid defender. Probably better as a 1, but he's going to be in the starting lineup as their 2 because, well, Cade Cunningham's just a better passer. He's had a really, really weird NBA career as far as I'm concerned. I feel like this is a make-or-break season for him, too. His rookie contract's set to expire after the year. It's at the point now where it's either extension or free agency, and you don't want to end up like Cam Thomas where you're just hanging on in restricted free agency hoping somebody gives you a deal. I'm hoping with that jump in efficiency from 3, similar usage rate to last year, maybe even higher, who knows, and he's in a contract year, I'm hoping he's got all the energy, all the wantingness to be a bag guy, a guy who can get a bag from Detroit and nobody's going to bat an eye about it. I hope he has 17.5 points per game with 4 and 4 and 41% from 3. If you maintain that over 82, You're talking about a really, really good player, man. At number 13, I'm taking Trey Murphy III. I think he's more of a wing than a shooting guard, but again, ESPN has him listed as the starting 2 guard, so don't get mad at me. He's got a 6'8 build, which is why, again, I said he probably belongs better at a wing spot. He is an okay defender and just a terrific shooter. Plus, last year, with all the injuries to Zion, DeJounte Murray, and everyone on their roster, it seemed, he got to show a little bit more in the bag. His usage rate last season jumped 7%, which obviously it's due to all the injuries, and it hurt his efficiencies. As last season, he shot 45.5% from the field, 36 from 3, and 88 from the free throw line. That's not bad, considering he averaged 21 points per game. Similarly to McCollum, Thomas, and every other player before this, it feels like he's probably better when he's given a lesser role and just generally relied upon to do less. This is a guy who probably would be one of the best role players in basketball if he was allowed to be a role player. But if Zion's going to miss 50 games and DeJounte's going to miss 40 games, you're going to need a role player to become an all-star. The reasons why I have him over guys like Cam Thomas and some other guys like that, Jaden Ivey, is because I like him as a better defender. He is 6'8", he has length. Plus, he's probably a more established, better shooter than those other guys. He's a more consistent three-point shooter. This is a guy who shot over 40% from 3 before in a year. Frankly, I also like his ability to be a starter on a winning team. I really doubt CJ McCollum's ability to do it. I really doubt Cam Thomas's ability to do it. I'm not sure about Jaden Ivey's. Majority of the guys behind him, I'm not sure if they're legit starters on championship teams at this point. I think Trey Murphy, if you put him on a damn contender, a team that actually can win a game, he's going to be really good. Sure, he may not be as, tough as Cam Thomas. I understand that. But we're talking about a guy who averaged similar points per game at 21 points per game on pretty damn good efficiency. And when given the ball just as much as Cam Thomas was, he produced very similar numbers. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. But if you reduce Trey Murphy's role and you reduce Cam Thomas's role, you're talking about 2 spectacular players. It's just they both got relied upon to do too much last year. At number 12, I have Lu Dort. This might be a little bit controversial because he's not a scorer. However, this guy made all defensive first team and finished 4th in defensive player of the year voting last year, and he still scored 10.1 points per game on over 40% three-point shooting. In terms of complementary players, I don't think there's many better than Lu Dort. Yes, he has had better scoring seasons in his career. Those teams were terrible, and they were trying to lose. No offense to Lu Dort, but he was never going to be a 17 points per game scorer on a real competitive team. So what did he do? He sacrificed. He has been an elite defender, a really good stopper on ball. He's a fire hydrant. The guy is built wide, stocky body, muscular as all hell. To simplify it, he has a football player build. He would be an ideal running back. You're talking about Emmitt Smith. You know what I mean? This is, if I've ever seen it before, this is Maurice Jones-Drew, for Christ's sake. Back to basketball. He was really good on catch and shoot opportunities. He shot 42% in the regular season. He shot a bit worse from 3 at 34% in the playoffs, which I think can get him knocked down if you really want to. But efficiency in general goes down in the playoffs. As long as you're not bottoming out, i.e. Jalen Green, efficiency-wise in the playoffs, you're doing fine by me. He brings defensive intensity. He brings energy. He puts it on the defensive end. He puts his life on the line. Yeah, he'll tackle somebody here and there, but he's still an elite defender, one of the best in basketball, 4th in Defensive Player of the Year as a guard. I think he is one of the best role players in basketball, and it's really hard to rank a guy like him because he is a role player. Somebody like, again, a Cam Thomas type will definitely outscore Lu Dort 10 out of 10 times. But if you're building a championship team, I'm probably taking Lu Dort. At number 11, I have Coby White. From the start of February to April 6th, you're talking about a guy that averaged 24.5 points per game on 47, 38, 92 splits, along with 4 assists and 4 rebounds. That's a 2-month sample of him being a 25-point-per-game guy, basically. Now, I wish he could do this for a full season because it feels like he does this every year where it's the last 2 to 3 months of the year, Coby White just heats up. I would love to see him do this for a full calendar year. Be a 25-a-game guy from the start of the season to the end of it. I feel like he can. The guy is a good, true point guard now with Josh Giddey, a guy who really is going to pass the ball, a guy who is going to get Coby more catch-and-shoot opportunities. Coby shot 42% on catch-and-shoot threes last year. He's just a pure scorer. Him, Cam Thomas, Jaden Ivey, they're all in the same boat, but Coby White, for 2 whole months, averaged 25 a game and shot 47, 38, 92 splits. 92 from the free throw line. Pretty damn good. Coby's a tick better defensively than those guys and a tick more efficient than those guys, which is kind of why he gets the nod. Kobe's shot quality is in the 92nd percentile. He's in the 85th percentile for offensive workload. He's in the 87th percentile for creation as well. He has taken strides every season, it feels like, including the fact that he won back-to-back Player of the Months last season. And that also includes a March. In March, the guy averaged 28 points per game and had a streak of 15 straight games where he put up 20 or more points. Coby White, toward the end of last season, really came into his own as a scorer. And I'm happy to see it. I just want him to put it together for a full season, and you're going to see one of the best scoring guards in basketball. At number 10, I said it's really hard to rank role players. I have Christian Braun, another guy who has visible linear growth if you look at his basketball reference page. In his rookie season, he averaged 5 points. In his sophomore year, 7.5 points. In his third year in the league, 15.5 points per game. And he became a future piece on a contending Denver Nuggets squad. He posted the 13th best plus-minus in the NBA last season. He also shot 50% from the field, 40% from three, and 83% from the free throw line. That's nuts, dude. He was almost 50, 40, 90. His efficiency in the playoffs plummeted. Do you want to know why? Maybe because he played more minutes than ever, like in his NBA career in the playoffs. He averaged 39 points per game. Do you know what he averaged in the last playoffs, like the year before when he was with Denver still? He averaged 20 less minutes. He averaged 19 minutes per game and 2 years ago in the playoffs. Then he went to almost 40 last year. This guy is an excellent full court player. He loves running in transition. This is one of the best at terms of getting out in transition. He's a demon in the one-on-ones in transition, and if you meet him at the rim, he'll dunk on you. Ask Rudy Gobert. I think the next step for him is upping his three-point attempts. I think he almost averaged 3 last year. It needs to go up a little bit, because if he becomes a real three-point threat, like if he could take 5 a game and shoot 38%, you're talking about one of the best complementary pieces in the league. On top of that, it makes him a real threat to shoot the 3, because last season, a lot of teams would double off of him to help on Jokic. He's got to be able to knock down that 3. But like I said before, man, it is really difficult to rank role players, and Christian Braun is one of the best in basketball. I don't know if you would take Lou Dort over him. I would take Christian Braun over Lou Dort simply because I like his ability to score more, and I like his efficiencies as well, his ability to play in a full court game. I think they're really, really close. You could argue Lou Dort over Christian Braun, and I would have no issue with it. At number 9, I have Austin Reaves. Last season, Reaves averaged 20 points per game for the first time in his young career. He also averaged 6 assists per game with 4.5 rebounds. He shot 46% from the field, 38 from 3, and 88 from the free throw line. This man can generate offense, especially his ability to get to the free throw line, kind of like a Benedict Mathurin. Like I said before, he gets to the line. Whenever he's in the game, that free throw rate skyrockets. Plus, he can play make. His fit next to Luka, to me, questionable. For defensive purposes specifically, he's not really the best defender. Let's be honest, Austin Reaves is a tissue in the wind defensively. But offensively, you're going to struggle to find a better scoring backcourt than Luka and Austin Reaves. They're both going to give you 20 plus a game. Luka might give you 30 a game, and Reaves is about going to give you 20. That's a pretty damn good scoring chunk. I like his ability to slow the game down and get to the free throw line. I like his ability to play make. That's very rare in a 2-guard nowadays. Is a guy that can get you 6 assists as well without turning the ball over 3 to 4 times a game. Plus, with his ability to get to the free throw line, he doesn't just rely on his ability to hit jump shots. It shows that he can, like I said, slow the game down. That's really helpful in the playoffs, to be able to make your free throws and just get there in general. Reaves was an efficiency monster last season. He had an effective field goal percentage in the 89th percentile, 70th percentile for mid-range shooting, 82nd percentile in rim finishing, despite, well, let's be honest, being kind of a thin white guy. Similar to a majority of the players on this list, he is a terrible defender. Like I said, he's a tissue in the wind. It seems like a majority of the shooting guards on this list have been terrible defenders, and that kind of makes it really difficult to rank guys, because it's either you're really great defensively or really terrible defensively on this list. However, his 6'6" size helps me to believe that if he can bulk up a little bit, there's still something there defensively. I'm not saying he's ever going to be an elite defender. Maybe a league average one, though, is all I'm asking for. But at the end of the day, he is 27 years old. He was an old rookie coming in. 27 years old. Guys don't particularly get better after age 27. He can, though. I know that's his athletic prime. But I think he just needs to add a little bit more muscle. He is a little bit smaller. At number 8, I have Mr. Potential himself, Amen Thompson. He could be moving to the top 5 by the end of the season, in my opinion. This guy can end up being one of the 5 best shooting guards in the league after this year. It all depends on one thing. It all depends on his three-point shooting. We just say it. He shot 27.5% from 3 last year and only 68% from the free throw line. In terms of the technical skills of the game, like shooting the damn ball, needs to work on it. In terms of everything else, Athleticism might be one of the best in the NBA. High IQ, one of the highest game IQs in basketball right now. The guy pays attention and likes basketball, it seems. Finishes really well around the rim. That helps with the athleticism part. He's got a nice floater, too, in the lane. He's an interesting shooting guard because he can hang out in the dunker spot. Not many two guards hang out in the dunker spot. The jumper is the one thing keeping him away from being absolutely elite, and I know it doesn't always work like that. Let's be honest with each other. We said if Michael Kidd-Gilchrist could get a jump shot, he'd be a real NBA player. That never happened. But again, he was in the 97th percentile for rim finishing. Again, that's higher than like some centers. I think Jarrett Allen was in the same percentile, which is insane. 72% from the rim is the exact number. That is equal to Jarrett Allen's rim finishing last season. He finished as well as a damn center. The defense is elite. He was in the 87th percentile in block rate. He was in the 75th percentile for deflections, 94th percentile for rim defense. He is one of the best defensive guards in basketball, and it's due to him being stupid athletic, stupid fast, lengthy as all hell, and getting stronger. This is one of the most exciting players for the future, but again, when he gets a jumper, I've been fooled by that countless times, man. Andre Roberson. We've heard of countless guys where it's like, if he could shoot, let's be honest, Ben Simmons, that's the one that probably comes to mind for a lot of people. If he could shoot, some guys never learn how to. I hope Amen's not one of those guys. I hope he becomes a 38% three-point shooter, and then we're talking about a top 3 shooting guard in basketball. At number 7, I have another defensive demon. It's Dyson Daniels, defensive demon. He almost won Defensive Player of the Year last year and Most Improved. That would have been a crazy year, so I have to respect that. Last season, Daniels set career highs across the board, basically. He averaged 14 points per game with 6 rebounds and 4.5 assists, shot 49% from the field, 34 from 3, and 59 from the free throw line. That's hideous. He averaged 3 steals and a block per game. 3 steals and a block per game. That feels absolutely insane to say. He had multiple games where he put up almost 10 steals. I know he had back-to-back games, I think, where he had 7 in December. It was pretty close to that. He was just incredible defensively last year. Offensively, he's really good in transition. He gets on the break well. He runs with Trae Young. He's one of those guys that can run, specifically getting downhill into the paint. I'm not saying you want him creating off dribble, but if he has to, he can. When the defender falls asleep, he's also a really, really good cutter as well. That's made him more effective with Trae Young, who can find him no matter where he is on the court. His offense is ugly to some, including me. Including his catch and shoot, which also isn't that pretty. Most of his offense is either catch and shoot threes or transition runouts. Hey man, that's good enough for me. But if you average 3 steals per game and almost win Defensive Player of the Year as a guard in your first year starting, that's insane. We're getting into the final 6. Mikal Bridges. He has an argument to move up to 5 here, but I don't really want to. He averaged 17.5 points per game last year with about 4 assists and 3 rebounds. Pretty damn good season for Mikal. He struggled to shoot at the beginning of the year. He was awful. His jumper was broken at the beginning of the year, but he cleaned up well. He ended up shooting 50% from the field, 35 from 3, and 81 from the free throw line. If you're wondering why I'm speeding up through this, my dinner's ready. Mikal's defense regressed a little bit last year, in my opinion. His length is terrific, but he doesn't have the size. Bulkier wings bowl right through him. And if you aren't a tough shot guy like a Jason Tatum, if you're a Jaylen Brown type and you just want to go right through him, you definitely can. Bigger players move him around too much for my liking, but he is the most durable player in basketball right now. Not even close. He has that 82-game streak still going. He doesn't miss games. He's a terrific mid-range jump shooter. He's a good rim finisher. And hopefully that three-point percentage spins around. Because last year to start the year wasn't bad, but he cleaned up relatively well. I'm just hoping that there's a consistent middle ground where he's just a good three-point shooter next year. He's another glue guy that most teams would absolutely kill to have. I really like Mikal Bridges and the fit in New York. Maybe this year again. He's going to be practicing a lot more threes, knowing that that was his weak point last year. Should come back better. At number 5, I have the one player I would commit crimes for. It's Derek White. I love Derek White. He doesn't do many things wrong. Derek White is a Swiss Army knife, plain and simple, that most teams would kill to have. He's a great shooter. He shot 39% over the last 3 years from behind the arc. He also shot 57% effective field goal percentage over that same time span, which would put him above the 80th percentile. Last season, he averaged 16.5 points per game with 5 assists and 4.5 rebounds. There's more. He also averaged the most total blocks in the NBA, averaged the most total blocks. He averaged the most blocks per game, and he had the most total blocks amongst guards in the NBA last season, while still averaging about a steal per game. He finished 10th in Defensive Player of the Year voting, which, hold on, if we're doing the math here, if we're doing all defensive teams, you need 5 and 5, first and second team all defense. The guy that finished 10th in Defensive Player of the Year did not make it? Make that make sense. But in 23-24, Derek White finished 8th in Defensive Player of the Year voting and made all defensive second team. This is a guy who can consistently make defensive teams. However, last season, I think he was just relied upon to do way too much offensively with Porzingis being out, Jaylen Brown being hurt for stretches of the season. It became Derek White as the second option, and when you're putting too much workload on a guy offensively, his defense is going to sort of falter a little bit. This is one of the best defensive guards in the league, and he has a growing offensive bag, good floater around the rim. He's become a decent finisher as well, and of course, an electric three-point shooter. This is a guy who I think anybody in the NBA world should really like and appreciate, except for maybe Miami Heat fans, because he just owns the Heat. At number 4, I have Desmond Bane. I like Bane's upside over the other guys because he's such an effective offensive player. He shot 41% from 3 last season, and he shoots 41% for his career on 6.3 attempts. He's a career 18-point-per-game scorer, and that's being bogged down by a rookie season where he averaged about 9. If you erase that rookie season, he's a 20-point scorer across his career. I love his fit in Orlando. That's what helps make the pick. His per-game averages are going to be lower because Paolo and Franz aren't the level passer that John Morant is, in my opinion. But I think in his reduced role, he'll be way more efficient and he'll be better defensively as well. He's a really good fringe all-star, similarly to Derek White. He struggles defensively at times, like I said, but again, you move over to Orlando where they don't struggle defensively. They got like 7 guys who can defend. Suggs, Isaac, Banchero's not a bad defender. Franz isn't a bad defender. Batadze, Carter. There's just a million good defenders on that team. I'm not worried about the defensive impact of adding Desmond Bane. What I really do like is them adding a 41% three-point shooter to a team that could not shoot last year. At number 3, it's a steep drop-off from 2 and 1, but Zach LaVine's number 3 in my opinion. I don't think anyone noticed this last year, but 74 games last year for LaVine, he shot 44.5% from 3 on 7 attempts per game. That's bonkers shooting numbers. In Sacramento alone, LaVine shot 51, 45, 87 splits. That's disgusting. His offense has expanded. He's become a great mid-range shooter. He shot over 40% in the mid-range in 4 of the last 5 seasons. Last season, he averaged 23 points with 4 assists and 4 rebounds. It's a pretty damn good stat line. This is a guy who can carry your offense for a good stretch of the season. He's a tough shot maker. He can get downhill to the rim. Hell, he runs in transition, and he can get a fun dunk here and there. He doesn't dunk anymore, though, guys. Come on. His problem is he's been a net negative defensively for a majority of his career. He seems like a decent on-ball defender, but off-ball, you know what I mean? And plus, it doesn't help that his backline defender is Domantas Sabonis, another historically terrible defender. And another issue is that in 25-26, LaVine is continually overpaid. He's being paid more than both Donovan Mitchell and Anthony Edwards, the 2 guys that are literally above him in this list, as you can assume. LaVine's grossly overpaid, but that's not his fault. It's the Kings' fault. Actually, it's not. I think the Bulls gave him that deal. Doesn't really matter, man. The Kings are a grossly misrun organization. But Zach LaVine is a very talented basketball player. Just sucks that he's never going to play for a real contender because, again, he's on the Kings, and their front office is, I don't even know how to describe it, a group of drooling toddlers, maybe. At number 2, I have Donovan Mitchell. He's an explosive scorer, some of the smoothest handles in the game. That little step-back left that he does, it goes in every time, it feels like. A bit of a stat sheet production drop-off last year, but that's because the team was deeper and better than years prior. A similar 2-guard. He can hold up defensively kind of well, because he has that stocky build. He is such a traditional shooting guard where it's like, go get buckets. That's what his job is, and he does that. A career-long average of 25, 5, and 4 is very much on par with where he was last season at 24, 5, and 4. Here's a fun fact. His playoff point-per-game average is 28 points per game. He averages more in the playoffs than the regular season. One of the coldest players in the league. He had to carry that damn team last year because, man, they got hurt at the absolutely wrong time. Great volume three-point shooter, great rim finisher who can put you on a damn poster. He scored, 70 in a game 2 years ago at this point. He's also a fellow New Yorker, like I am. He's from Elmsford, which, according to Kian Anthony, not New York, buddy. Sorry. And at number 1, it's Anthony Edwards. This is no shock to anyone. It's kind of the easiest choice possible. This is another guy. I said linear growth before. Go check his basketball reference page. 19 in his rookie year, 21 his sophomore year, 24 his third year, 26. Now he's at 28 a game. The most known change came to his three-point shot. In his rookie season, he shot 33%. That was the 26th percentile. Pretty poor three-point shooter. Last season, he shot a bit below from 3 and 82nd percentile three-point shooter. By the way, he shot over 10 attempts per game. 10 attempts per game is absolutely ridiculous. Some people really didn't like it, but guess what happened? He made the conference finals, had a really good playoff run. With the increase in three-point volume, his effective field goal percentage shot up from 52.5% to 55.5%. He went from the 51st percentile to the 76th percentile in effective field goal percentage. That's a 25 percentile jump. The next step in his game for me is at least lowering the turnovers. Over 3 turnovers per game with sub 5 assists last year. It's either the assist got to take an uptick or the turnovers got to take a tick down. However, he's still a spectacular defender, a solid on-ball defender as well when he wants to be. When he's locked in and engaged, Anthony Edwards can defend his ass off. And he just made second team All-NBA, got MVP votes, back-to-back seasons now of getting MVP votes. One of the best players in the league, clearly the best shooting guard in the league, no question right now for me. This was a long video. If you enjoyed it, you should like, you should subscribe. Sorry this ran a little bit longer than I wanted. I'm going to go eat dinner. I'm going to go catch the game. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for joining.